Hello, this is Reverend Dore, Jacques Patlian, teaching the perennial philosophy that we call religious science. And it started with the publication in 1926 of the book The Science of Mind by Dr. Ernest Holmes, in which he synthesized the best ideas of all the great religions with psychology and science. That's why we call it religious science. Today, we're going to talk about the problem with being human. Being a human being is a great adventure. It's almost certainly the best gig on this planet, but it does come with some unique challenges and problems. Here are just a few of the more common problems and questions that we all seem to face in our lives. Number one, the biggie. What is my purpose? Why was I put here? What am I supposed to do with my life? These questions presuppose that we're all put here for a higher purpose by some deity that created us just for that purpose. I call this the servant of God concept of humanity. Many people on this planet see themselves just this way. They believe that their only purpose for being alive is to do God's work here on this planet. Perhaps there's some truth to that, particularly if that's their truth. But I always felt that God has all the power and intelligence in the universe, so he or she could probably keep things running just fine without our help. Yes, I do feel that each of us is born with a template of talents, physical characteristics, and inclinations, which may impel us in one direction or another. I think it's part of our DNA. For instance, I have been a teacher in one form or another all my life. 8 years old, I knew I wanted to teach. My father said, why don't you get a job that pays something? And I agreed that it didn't pay much, but that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I've done in one form or another. It just seems to be imprinted in the blueprint of my being. But I am just not ready to believe that this is God's will for me. It's my will and my free choice, and if it makes the world a better place, well and good. And if not, still what I want to do. Your purpose can be ascertained by feeling, but not usually by thinking. Don't try to think about what your purpose is. Feel it. What do you love to do so much that time loses all meaning while you're doing it? That's a big litmus test of what you really are meant to do. When time flies when you're doing it, you're on the right track. What do you love to do so much that you do it for free if circumstances permitted it? If you got a big legacy or earned a pile of money somehow and you didn't have to worry about a job, what would you do for free because you loved it so much? What things can you always find time to do no matter how busy you may be? That's another big one. How many times we hear people say, well, I really don't have time to do that when they're asked to do something? What they're really saying is, I don't want to do that. Things that you really love, you make time for no matter what. People always seem to make time for having sex, don't they? No matter how busy they are. I guess it's because they like to do it. What defines you as a person? What just feels right and proper for you? That's the question that you have to ask. What is your individual blueprint or template? That's what it is. What really feels right and proper for you. But you know, you're not bound by it. Things may change. Circumstances may change. You may change. So you can choose to follow the template or strike out in a different direction. We are never bound by precedent. I'm going to say that again. We as human beings are never bound by precedent unless we believe that we are. And those chains are of our making. At the end of the day, your purpose is what you love, what you enjoy, and what you want to do. Your purpose lies within you. It does not lie in the opinions of parents, teachers, or friends. Now, sometimes it works out really nicely that what your father wants you to do is what you love to do too. And now you've got a really cool situation because everybody's happy. But often it does not, and you must follow your path. What if I fail at life is the second big question. Fear of failure and fear of falling are the two primal fears of the human species. And they're kind of interrelated, aren't they? They're both terrible things and they both seem awful. Fear of failing comes from a view of life as a school or an obstacle course. Many religions seem to teach this idea, but God is not a trickster or a stern schoolmaster in my view of the universe. God is love personified. God loves you so much that he took some of his precious substance and fashioned the DNA that is you. You know, you cannot love more than literally giving yourself to make the life of another. In truth, you and all that exists is one with God. You and I and everyone is one with God. We believe that we are separate because we have a sense of self that is called the ego, that perceives differences and ignores commonality. It also ignores the existence of God. The greatest untruth in the universe is that God and humanity are separate and that never the twain shall meet. Every time I hear the doxology in a church service, I cringe at the phrase, "Bless all creatures here below," as if we were little ants, little pitiful creatures in the hands of a mighty God. That is not the truth of the matter as far as Dore is concerned. We are one with all creation, made of the same substance and of the same matter and energy, different only in scale. We are the inheritors of all the power in the universe, but we believe that we are weak worms in the dust. We worry about failing at life, when in reality every one of us completes the course. We may well run our race poorly, or we may do it well. We may do it with joy or sorrow. We may do it with style and grace or bumble through, but we all cross the finish line and fall into the open and waiting arms of our Creator. I believe that the greatest prize in this race of life is the most improved award. It matters little who you were when you're born. What matters is what and who you have learned to become. You cannot fail at life. But whether you achieve what you wish to achieve, whether you enjoyed life or found it to be a struggle, is totally up to you. You are the author of your life. I'm going to repeat that. You are the author of your life. God creates, but you write the script of that creation called you. Lighten up. Life is a journey that all will finish. You cannot fail. Life is merely the experience of being alive. It is not an entity outside of you. Life cannot do anything to you that you did not do to yourself first. Life cannot do anything for you that you did not do for yourself first. Oh, yes, you do have an endless number of lives to enjoy. Enjoy each one to the fullest. You really do go around more than once, so don't worry about it. God is eternal, and so are you. Remember, you are made of energy, the same energy that is the universe itself. Science tells us that energy can never be created or destroyed. It only changes form. Think of water. Freeze it and it turns to ice. Boil it and it turns to steam, but it's still water. So it is with you and I. So you see, there are really no problems with being human unless you wish to create them. I choose to have a grand time. How about you? Have a great race. However you choose to run it, you're guaranteed to finish. Until we are together again, be well, be happy, and have a great life. This is Reverend Dore Jacques Patlian from the Awakened Heart Center for Spiritual Living in Sarasota, Florida, saying so long for now. Please catch me on video on youtube.com/RevDore. I have about 110 of them up at this time. Take care now. Bye-bye.